Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the One Shopify podcast. And I'm your host, Ashika. And today's episode is about something far rarer than growth, which is longevity. 10 years in the Shopify ecosystem isn't about, shipping features. It's about surviving platform shifts, merchant expectations, retail, re-innovation, and your internal evolution as a brand. So Zapiet has lived through all of it from early local pickup days to becoming a critical layer in omnichannel commerce, quietly, trusted, deeply embedded, and everything. And my guest today has been part of that arc almost from the beginning. So, Emily is the CMO and director of Zapier with a background spanning supply chain, product design, and whatnot, and also brand, which makes a perspective unusually grounded. So, Emily, welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much, Ashika. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Yes. So 10 years in the Shopify ecosystem, filters out the hype, shortcuts, and the fragile companies. When you look back, what did Zapier stop doing over time that was just as important as what you built? And what beliefs about growth and marketing quietly died as the company matured?
To be honest, I think there's not a single point that actually died. There is actually more additions to I would say, like a huge amplified architecture of what you do. Like on marketing, every time like that we were thinking on growth, or if you found a company to reflect in a good growth, you need to thinking also in scalability towards the communication side. So I would say that there's nothing that actually uh, dies. I would say that what die it's primarily investment on the branding side, where what you do is that you prioritize on creating a good branding, a good communication that you can scale with you along of the time. So what actually dies is the first steps of implementation. Everything else just grows with it. So we create an architecture that's the foundation for you to keep growing. Because marketing and communicating products is such a vast and complex word that this is something sometimes like engineers and app founders suffer the most. So I can tell by my experience last year that was in ShopQuest, and then one of the biggest, most questions and people that was seeking advice towards me was literally, okay, I have a great product, we have a great engineering team. How do you communicate? So building great foundations, it's a monster that you're going to build from very tiny to very big.
Okay, okay. So Zapier lives at this intersection of online and offline where, theory collapses fast. So from your supply chain and operations background, what do pure play e-commerce teams misunderstand about this retail reality? And how did that understanding shape Zapier's product and the messaging choices all?
So it shaped 1,000% how we create products. Having a background on supply chain is so precious because you don't understand just about the operational system side of how the merchant going to interact with the products. You understand that the whole suite of operations that the merchant needs to they have the lead times with the product, that they need to plan production, they need to understand, for example, when they're going to forecast the staff to work, and understanding about product and how the user actually going to interact with the systems. So and then understand and viewing this in the global way, because obviously if you were supply chain specialist, and that's my background, I have a background in high luxury fashion and been celebrated last year 20 years on the building ever brands fashion world, and also 17 years on tech, 10 years on Zapiet. So the huge milestones, as I say. It's crucial for us to understand how to build our products, because it's much more than just a system. There's who is behind it, how the products is going to be. It's going to be moved by the merchant internally, how the people that interact with the systems is going to react and use it. I don't think if we, both myself and my co-founder Andrew Cardio, if we didn't have this experience on retail, physical retail, I don't think we would have built such a successful suite of apps.
So how do you intentionally design for the trust at a product and brand level when software sits inside high stakes moments like fulfillment, pickup, and delivery?
Sorry, I missed you for a second. Could you repeat?
Yeah, sure, sure. So how do you intentionally design for a trust at a product and brand level when your software sits at the inside high stake moments like fulfillment, pickup, and delivery?
So that's a that's a great question, because obviously when we start building our products, we were very careful as well on building our image and building our brand, because it's very hard, for example, for who is using a software, to understand that behind that software there is actually people with emotions, with feelings. And the only way that we could get that little chance to try to have those few minutes of understanding connection with the user that might choose Zapiet for as the app provider, is to try to translate on the branding a little bit, this little feel of connection. That's why, like, for example, our most of our branding, we focus on human first. That's a lot of photographs. We have a playful branding as well that try to bring emotions with our mascot, and all the playful colors that we like to add into our branding. It's challenging because we have, obviously, everyone that work with SaaS, they know how challenging it is to try to um, create a connection between the user and the company that's behind it, because obviously it's an intangible product, so you can't touch. How can you have the feeling? It's just by doing the branding where you can give a little bit of emotional connection with who is using it. And we have like very few minutes when actually new merchants or agencies are like browsing on the Shopify App Store with, like, thousands of other apps, like, to capture their attention. So our branding is very well thought about trying to capture the attention of who is like landing for the first time on the Shopify App Store, and then landing after on our website as well. We have very short time to try to impress people. So then our first gateway is try to show ourselves how we work, and try to capture their attention with a very appealing and cute branding.
Right, right. So this local delivery pickup POS workflows, they aren't the impulse buy categories, right? So as a CMO, how do you market a product that users don't fall in love with emotionally, but depend on operationally? And what narratives actually resonate with the serious merchants?
Yeah, so actually, I would say that there is like this emotional process they happen after the merchant starts using the product.
Mhm.
Because in the first place, the merchants that comes to seek our products, especially our flagship app like pickup and delivery, is such a robust product that in the first step, people, like, they are just like overwhelmed with like the amount of features and everything. When they realize that the product itself is almost like a CRM, they can solve so many problems and restrictions, specific requirements, like out dates, or setting deliveries to specific zones, or setting pickups limits, that the things that is specific, so specific, but very crucial for, especially for people that are selling products that can expire, or fresh baked goods, or farmers, for example, where the products are so sensitive. And then they are facing with the system, with the apps, where they can literally tailor exactly the time that people can pick up, that matches with the time that they can, for example, harvest the lettuce, or delivery when they're gonna have like fresh baked goods. So then this love comes after when they realize that actually the products help their operations. This is one of the reasons, for example, that we have merchants that's been with us since Zapiet was founded, because we were like watching their needs, then developing the product according to their feedback, and then understanding in terms of scalability as well, like how we were going to feed features that was being requested. But yeah, there is like this first shock on like configuring everything, and then after they do fall in love with the product, because the product starts to being like a best friend on their operations, and then even like, for example, reducing costs for casting again staff. Because imagine that if you were a baker, I like to give the example of a bakery, because there's some bakeries, for example, that just bake gluten-free and bread or products, for example, just once a week. And if they open the ordering system on their website for example, clients that then can do orders Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maximum, close the window for those orders. When it gets in the Friday, that's the baking day for the gluten-free products, they know exactly how much material in terms of gluten-free products they needed to bake. They know exactly how to forecast the staff to be on the shop floor, and know exactly what are going to be the pickup windows or delivery windows where they're going to need to provision for delivering those products. So that's a dream for like, fresh produce world. That's an absolutely dream, and it's like heaven for them.
Okay. So Shopify today is not what Shopify is back in 2015. So how do you evolve alongside a platform with constantly re-educating your customers or breaking test? What internal discipline helps Zapiet absorb platform without, the product whiplash?
Yeah, so Shopify likes to throw a lot of challenges in us along of the year, especially for us that's being like, OGs in this world, since the dawn times.
Mm.
They like to do a lot that. So we developed a couple of I would say like communication techniques where we enroll first internally with the customer support and engineering team if there's change, and then right when a change is going to be, for example, deployed, because I don't know, the checkout is having an update, and it is obviously we need to inform this to the merchant or to the agencies. We make sure that exactly when we adapted our product according to, for example, new requirements, that we have, for example, help articles that are going to be turned into tutorials, for example, if we know that that topic it's like high ranking on our views in terms of like um on our help center, for example. So we create like a robust communication, and then we will obviously send some information on the newsletters, and then we will do social media posts. So every time that's something that's very crucial and like changing for the merchant, that we know that we're gonna need to kind of educate them more regarding those changes, we just spam the merchants everywhere that we can possibly do, because I find like the most efficient way. And I think there is this expectation as well from all the merchants and agencies working with Shopify along of all of this long of the years. They know that Shopify want to carry on pushing innovation. For doing this change, this is going to come. So then people are kind of expecting those the innovation to come, and with innovation we're going to need to carry on constantly being learning. So people are very open to that, sometimes a bit more challenging than others, but people are very open to it, and we spun everywhere.
Okay. So 10 years means the feature pressure from every direction, merchants, agencies, and partners. So how do you decide what not to build, and how do you protect product clarity when success itself creates noise?
Yeah, so we this is actually one of our biggest challenges ever, like since the donut times, because obviously we started with one app with store pickup and delivery, and then now we have six apps, and the evolving of having this extra five apps was literally measuring like feedback and feature requests, because we understood, for example, some feature requests is not suitable for we carry on building just on the flagship product. We needed to create a new app. So then use cases can, some certain merchants, for example, that we have products, for example, has delivery hates by zip code and delivery hates by distance. Clients can use those apps independently of pickup and delivery. That's so much more complex to set up. And we can also isolate pricing, because if we want to give a merchant a more complex switch of a product like start pickup and delivery, but we need to charge it for that product, for the more robust product. But if he needs just a specific functionality, you don't need to. So then for us, we kind of evaluate the feature requests from the merchants versus the market. Where does this, if we create a new app with this specific feature, does it gonna fit in the market somewhere? Obviously, Zapiet is very global, so in 150 countries, so there's a lot of logistic challenges to be solved all over the world. So, and then we evaluate that, and then so then we decide either add this feature to the flagship app, or build a completely different app and then give these options for our merchants. And then we participate the merchants of this from this process as well, saying like, oh, hey, we're not going to be adding this feature that you've been requesting for so long on our flagship app, but then we build this other app here that they can complement all the products, or even migrating merchants. That it happened a lot when we carried on creating new products, that migrating merchants from one app to another one that was a better fitted for the challenges they were facing. And it's just like carry on creating like a very loyal bubble of both partners and agencies that work with us, because they know that we're not going to just stagnate, and understand that, okay, you deal with whatever we build and we're never going to carry on building more innovative products. No, we do the opposite. So we like a challenge, we like difficult stuff. So that's basically how we decide internally how to carry on with features, building new apps, and etc. Is like literally evaluating market versus requests, and understand if it's financially viable, if the team has always ready for squeezing building another new app. But I'm also I was very excited to choose a new color, to have a playful branding, and I was excited on that side.
Okay. So, talking about partnership, what makes an ecosystem partnership worth maintaining over years? I mean, not just quarters, but over years. And what usually breaks partnership that looks good on paper?
So what breaks a partnership? I think the number one thing is like a huge, like those partners that want to take more than what they want to give. So the approachability that we have internally with partners is literally like, we don't like those partners that already come to the first call with like a huge deck of things that we're supposed to do and expecting do nothing back. So that's a big big red flag. We huge horrendous thing to do. And I think, at least like from our internal culture, the first thing that we want to do with a good partner, it's understanding, okay, what's the value that we exchange, how much energy are we going to put in each side to try to make like obviously each other's business shines. And I think that's a very big mistake from a lot of different companies, especially companies that are starting, that doesn't have a communication power on their voices and want to ask too much from a company that is already well established and well heard in an ecosystem like ours. And so it's just a big red flag, a big knot today. And also low quality in terms of customer support, because the number one thing that we were gonna always try to push towards it is this company that want to partner with me, that I want to kind of put my little signature underneath, are they offering a quality product? Do they take care well with the merchants when they reach out? Are they customer support knowledgeable, efficient? Like we go through that curve first on evaluating if like solutions are compatible, then okay, let's go towards communication. If you decide to do a video, to even shoot a movie, we're gonna show a movie too. But if you everything that you want to do together is just like throw an email, something in the newsletter, we can also do that. We always said like we are very energetic. Whatever people wants to, how much energy they want to put in the partnership, we will put it back. So I was excited, especially like when we are working like on new partnerships that's like all over the world. We're incredibly curious to learn about different cultures, so we're gonna always put that ahead. It's not like our partnership for us is like it means business, but it means growth together, and not just on the business side but also in the personal side where we can learn together with different cultures and exchanging interesting information about each other's cultures and countries. So basically having fun. We need to have like for partnerships to be a flow, it needs to be a pleasure. It doesn't need to, it can't be just obligation. So
No, that's a great approach. And how do you scale a global product while, respecting the hyper-local behavior without fragmenting the roadmap?
open delivery on Shopify was Zapiet.
Yeah.
So obviously that made it, if you just exist on one solution, there's no other options. So obviously you're going to have like a bigger reach as Shopify grows. But we are Shopify's strategic partner. So what means that when Shopify is growing as well to specific markets, we will probably work internally with that team to implement our solutions as well together while they're expanding in different regions. And putting that effort is doing exactly what we're doing. So today I'm in Japan and already passed through Malaysia and Singapore. I'm in Japan, and the next stop is going to be Hong Kong. I think scaling internationally has all demands a lot of energy for you to understand as well, like, okay, so my product is already used on some certain countries. Well, what kind of integrations are missing? What kind of cultural relevances that I cannot notice just being behind a computer, like building. So it's go talk with partners, talk with merchants that in the regions that people are thinking to expand, to understand if your product fits well for it, or if you need to do anything else to help the growth. And partnerships with for a global expansion, it's extremely important because you need to build this trust with whoever is on the countries or regions that you are pretending to grow, because then that person is going to be your advocate. So you need to start creating and seeding a lot of about what your culture, your values. We are a British company, so we're very high up in terms of like equality. We're really pushed towards that. And then the partners that we want to work with and expand together and help them out, you be partners that also share the same value of offering quality. And I think that's basically it. It's very challenging, but partnership is very big. And another thing that I think people also underestimate in terms of like expanding globally, it's the amount of investment that it takes for that to happen. Success costs a lot of money. And you're probably going to need to invest a lot first, and then after like a medium long term to see like the impacts, like financial impact back on it. So yeah, doing little by little, go visit the country, create some cool partners, not just thinking of, for example, creating the partnerships in terms of like financial incentives, because people that actually probably can help other companies to expand internationally are not like interested on the 1-2% that you want to give as a revenue share. They are interested on how can you then help them to also expand where you are. So then it's relationship first. So yeah, basically it. A lot of work.
Okay. So, omnichannel is often discussed as a strategy, but it is lived as chaos. And looking ahead, what does a truly integrated retail experience look when it's done quietly, reliably, and at a scale?
I miss you. I think we're missing a little bit, so I missed the last part of your question.
No
Can you
problem.
repeat,
No, no
please?
problem. I'll repeat. So, omnichannel is often discussed as a strategy, but it is lived as a chaos. Looking ahead, what does a truly integrated retail experience look like when it is done, quietly, reliably, and at a scale?
Yeah, so I think omnichannel was like a big word that I think Shopify and modern retail really wanted people to adopt. Has a one word to explain something incredibly complex. So I think this is the trend that we're going to happen. Like I think moving forward is like we are gonna abandon just omnichannel to try to explain so many different complex things, and it started really talking about all the points of merchants that just have operations that offline, merchants that have operations that's offline and online, integrated with a third party distributor, for example, integrated with a warehouse. I think the segments is going to need to come for solutions to be better addressed to merchants and have more clarity, because I think the past years where everyone was just talking about omni channel to try to translate everything regarding retail, big mess. You agree with me? A big mess, because it's they're trying to say too much. I think um what is going to be looking ahead is specifically is a huge work that we already doing with ours work, because obviously having the option or in-store pickup and local delivery, like most of the times biggest percentage of our merchants are merchants that are sell online but have a brick and mortar store, so we have a physical store. And it's to have a more an integrated system where, for example, someone can order online, return at the store, but then the inventories are well managed. For example, the loyalty program are talking to the online for clients that are registered online, and then they want to use their coupon on the physical store, for example. Or if you just like have like a warehouse and you sell online and someone wants to randomly pick up a pair of shoes from your warehouse. And all this, like I would say, like talking about POS and the power of POS, and the POS being the center of this huge thing that we call a mini channel, and all of these APIs and beautiful systems talking together, independent of how is the profile of the merchant operations. If it's online or online in brick and mortar, if just online, if it's online in multiple warehouses, it needs to all talk together in a very beautiful thing. But Shopify is doing so much now towards like open up more options for us on building on the POS. It's going to become even more powerful, and we're very happy that we're in this POS journey. And hopefully, this omnichannel that we talk so much is going to start to having a very positive impact as well on the clients that purchase from merchants, because it's going to be much easier for them, so they're going to be more loyal to the merchants, and be just easier returns, everything will be easier, communication going to be easier. Very complex question, but I'm pleased that you agree with me. Let's stop the mess of the omni-channel to try to translate this so many different things. But yeah, focus on POS and integrated systems so merchants can operate. Doesn't matter that profile of operation.
Mhm. So, if someone is building a Shopify app today, what lessons from Zapiet's first 5 years still matter, and which ones would actively mislead them now?
So I think the number one was to build a product and build a brand in the same time,
Mhm.
because your products can be absolutely fantastic, and if you're not known, if people don't know about you, and if you're not memorable, people forget. So I think that's the lesson from the first chunk of the 5 years is to build as good of a product, build your brand, position yourself as a founder. Like on Zapiet, so we are two founders, it's myself and my co-founder Andrew Cargill. Make sure that you're open to talk with the ecosystem, to be close to Shopify as well, to want to contribute for the development. Don't see like your just the growth of your products. You know, you're in a huge mothership that's Shopify as I was trying to push to innovation. And Shopify does they do have like they do listen to like the engineers on the ecosystem that want to carry on innovating together with Shopify. I think it's been clever regarding doing that. In like we can see a lot of very successful companies that was launched in Shopify in the past like 2 years, for example. And the reason and that formula of success wasn't just because they went and copied another app that was already existed and then copied the UI, copied the functionality. No, they came in and trying to solve a problem that no one was doing that or wasn't solving it or launched to solve a specific problem in a niche, for example. And Shopify is going to see this. And then everyone in the ecosystem can see by like, for example, the latest awards that happen, like a lot of a very like young, relatively young, like app developers in the ecosystem. So be innovative and be memorable because it's very competitive this space now. There's thousands of apps on the Shopify App Store, and it's like almost like a very hard battle to try to be noticed. So yeah, I hope that helped.
Yes. So yeah, we have come to the end of the podcast now. And this conversation is a reminder that, that brands are built in launches. They're built in years of restraint, listening, and operational respect, of course. So Zapiet's story isn't about being loved, as far as I know. It's being dependable, and that's a competitive mode most founders underestimate. So, yeah, Emily, thank you for bringing the depth and the honesty to the space that often, rushes past both. And to everyone listening, if you want to build something that lasts in Shopify ecosystem, optimize less for attention and more for trust. So, yeah, me and Emily are signing off now, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.